Hi film fans, my name is Sam and welcome to It's Only a Film. Before we begin, don't forget to leave a like in the video, subscribe to the channel and hit the bell icon so you get the latest content as soon as it's uploaded. The film I'm going to talk about today is full of action, dread and enough manliness to put hairs in your chest. This is Why I Love Predator from 1987. This film came out the year I was born, so I didn't see it right away. I only got to see it round about the mid-90s and I was still way too young to see it, but I did anyway, and when I watched it, I absolutely loved it. And when I was younger, I absolutely loved anything that Arnold Schwarzenegger was in, and this film is definitely one of my favourite Arnie movies of all time. The first time I ever saw this film, I was watching it with my dad, and I can remember when cool and exciting things were coming up, he was telling me to watch and pay attention in case I missed anything. So I've got really good fond memories of watching this film. And when parts of the film come on that I really liked, I could remember looking over at my dad to see if he was enjoying the film as much as I was. So let's get to the chopper and find out why, to me, Predator is not only a film. Arnold Schwarzenegger plays Dutch, a leader of an elite team of commandos sent in to save some hostages in a Central American jungle. I can remember the first time I ever seen Arnie in a film, and it was in Conan the Barbarian. And being a young and impressionable child, I had never seen anyone quite like Arnie ever before. He was big, he was strong, he was muscular, and I really do think he was the closest at the time anyone could ever get to a real life superhero. So I remember thinking, yeah, if anybody can go toe to toe with an alien hunter from another planet, it would definitely be Arnie. He plays Dutch as a no-nonsense 80s style action hero, and this film has all the action tropes that made 80s movies so over the top and great. It can be a little cheesy, but Arnie is perfect in this type of role, and it works extremely well for this film. For me, Dutch is my second favourite Arnie character of all time, second only to the Terminator. This film also has Arnie's most famous catchphrases.
You son of a bitch. Knock, knock. Stick around.
If it bleeds, we can kill it.
Get to the chopper! You one ugly motherfucker.
Even when I watch this film back today, it's easy to forget that you're actually watching a sci-fi movie where you've got the alien element added, because it's such a really good action movie at first. And that's probably a lot down to John McTiernan, who is a phenomenal action movie director. Dutch is an expert at what he does, and when his team find the hostages, they easily deal with the human insurgents. Dutch's team only really start to get tested once the Predator makes his presence felt and starts to pick them off one by one.
He's killing us one at a time.
Like a hunter.
And by the end, Dutch has went from being the leader of a crack team of commandos, fitted out with the best equipment, to being alone, caked in mud and setting traps for one last showdown with the Predator. No matter how strong and well trained Dutch is, the Predator is bigger, he's stronger, and the film really made me buy into the threat of what Dutch was actually up against. In the end, Dutch is triumphant due to a few strategically placed traps and a whole lot of luck. It's hard to imagine anyone other than Arnold Schwarzenegger playing this role, because he does it so well, and Dutch is memorable and tough, and that's why he's one of my favourites. The Predator, the towering juggernaut from another world, is played by Kevin Peter Hall. Kevin has the physicality to play the menacing alien hunter and has a sinister and powerful presence on screen. I love how at the beginning you see little glimpses of something watching the team of commandos through the jungle as it follows them from a distance, disguised by its cloaking device. I can remember watching as a kid, every time looking into the trees, looking through the bushes in the jungle to try and get a glimpse of what I thought may have been the predator with his cloaking device on. And every time I thought I'd see something, I'd be saying to my dad, "Did you see it? Did you see it, Dad? Did you see it?" I'm hoping my dad would agree with me and that I wasn't just wanting to see something crazy. While the predator is stalking the team of commandos, you get to see his vision, which is based on heat, while he's wearing his helmet. He also seems to be recording the conversations the team are having, and when the predator plays the conversations back, I always remember being really terrified and feeling uneasy and very unnerved at the sounds of this recording. I don't know why, but there's a scene where the predator follows the team down just as they're finished fighting the insurgents, and one of the team has killed a scorpion with a knife, and the predator comes down and picks up the dead scorpion and he looks at it in the palm of his hand. I always remember thinking that was really cool, and the whole time the predator's playing back the previous conversation of going, "Anytime, anytime, anytime." Don't know why, it just stays with me. Always found it really terrifying and at the same time quite cool. When the predator kills the first member of the team, Hawkins, you don't see what happens. All you see is this image of something moving through the jungle and then bloody entrails lying in the bushes, and you only get to see this for a split second before it cuts away. Now eventually, when my brothers and I would get this movie on VHS, when it got to this bit, we would always try and pause it so we could try and make out what we could see lying in the bushes, but we could never make out what exactly was there. We just thought it was a pile of human disgustingness that was left behind by this predator, and I suppose at the time that was to build more of an impact about what has happened to this guy.
She says the jungle, it just came alive and took her.
As the movie progresses, you start to see the predator picking off the team more and more, one by one, using a variety of weapons to do so, such as his double blade, which is attached to his wrist gauntlet, and also his laser cannon that's up on his shoulder. And as it turns out, the predator is actually hunting these guys for sport, and this is clear once he kills one of the team and he takes out his spine and skull and kind of raises it above his head as a trophy. I remember seeing this for the first time and feeling so creeped out about it. I'd never seen anything like this before. I've seen bad guys in movies, but never a bad guy that was hunting humans for sport. It was unsettling that to the predator, all humans were wild game, and that really creeped me out.
The demon who makes trophies of man.
And the final showdown, when the predator comes face to face with Dutch and he finally removes his helmet as he wants to take him on one, and you get the big reveal for the predator's face, and you get the famous line from 𝐼𝐴.
You one ugly motherfucker.
I can remember on the build up to this, my dad getting excited and saying, "Wait till you see this, wait till you see this," and I'm waiting to see what this monster looks like. And when I seen his face, I couldn't believe it. The thing was horrific, never seen anything like it before. It had the mandibles in his face, it's got the hair quills, and then all that's left is for 𝐼𝐴 to take this thing on in a fight to the death.
I'm here! Kill me! Come on, kill me! I'm here!
The Predator truly is an iconic movie monster, and it's hard to picture him looking any different. But back in the 80s, during early production, it was going to look different. In fact, it was going to be played by another movie star by the name of Jean-Claude Van Damme. I am a huge Jean-Claude Van Damme fan. I love kickboxer, I love Bloodsport, I even love Street Fighter. I love most stuff with Van Damme in it. But I have to say, I am so glad that Van Damme's Predator wasn't made, as I love the film that we ended up with in the end. And it just wouldn't be right with 𝐼𝐴 going up against a spin-kicking martial art alien expert from another world. I think that would have been a step too far. Plus, Van Damme just wouldn't have had the same hulking presence as Kevin Peter Hall. Additionally, just an extra little bit of trivia. This is something I didn't know until I started making this video, But Peter Cullen, the voice of Optimus Prime, actually does a lot of the Predator sounds in this movie, but it goes uncredited, and I think that's pretty cool, knowing that Optimus Prime is also the Predator. Carl Weathers of Rocky fame plays CIA agent Dylan. Dylan is an old army buddy of Dutch. Carl Weathers is another 80s action hero that I love. I loved him as Apollo Creed. The guy's phenomenal. He's got a brilliant on-screen presence. As Dylan, he has ulterior motives as part of the group, and he's keeping the team's true objectives as a secret. But Dutch knows that something isn't quite right, figures Dylan out and confronts him.
You cells! It's all bullshit! All of it!
Dylan takes on the Predator later on in the film and loses an arm for his trouble before he's met with a grisly end. The rest of the elite team of commandos is Mac, Billy, Hawkins, Pancho and Blaine. These guys, although quite cool and have some memorable one-liners, only exist for the Predator to collect trophies. The most memorable, I feel, is Blaine, who is portrayed by Jesse the Body Ventura. He just chews scenery, full of over-the-top machoism.
This stuff will make you a goddamn sexual tyrannosaurus, just like me.
He's ridiculous at times,
You're hit. You're bleeding, man. I ain't got time to bleed.
but it is phenomenal. There is a bit I remember with Mac where he is so tense and is nervously shaving and he accidentally cuts himself. And then there's the part where Billy decides to strip off and try to go one-on-one with the Predator. But before he does that, he decides to cut his chest with a machete for reasons, and then waits for the Predator on a fallen tree,
Billy, let's go!
only for the Predator to then sneak up behind him, and then all you hear is this toe-curling scream through the jungle as the rest of the team try and run away. The other character that I've not spoken about yet is Anna. Now, she isn't part of the team of commandos, but she is the last remaining survivor of the insurgents that the rest of the team had killed. Anna and Dutch are the only two to get to the chopper and survive the Predator's assault.
No sé, no estoy segura, no sé.
Alan Silvestri provides the music for this film. To me, it's unique. It sounds menacing and quite tribal. I always thought that some of the sounds from the score could have been made by the Predator himself. The use of music is intense when it needs to be and really builds on the suspense and threat throughout the film. Now, this film really is one big action flick from start to finish, but instead of just saying watch the whole film, I'm going to pick some bits that I think you should really go back and see just how great they are. For all-out action, go back and watch the attack on the insurgents camp. It shows how well trained the team are. They're an effective unit. They come in and they deal with the insurgents, no sweat at all. To them, these guys are a piece of cake, and it shows that when the Predator eventually comes, just how little that their expertise have an effect on this hunter from another world. There's a crazy scene that lasts maybe a few minutes. Once Blaine gets killed by the Predator, Mac runs in and grabs Blaine's minigun, and then out of fear and anger just points it to this point through the jungle and starts mowing down all these trees with this gun. The whole team go crazy and fire all their weapons into the jungle along with Mac after he sees the cloaked figure run into the trees.
You saw what? I saw it.
To me, this scene just screams 80s over-the-top action, and it's great and I love it. The next scene I want to talk about is when the Predator chases Dutch through the jungle and he lands in the water and crawls out and gets himself covered in mud. This scene, as Dutch is lying in amongst the roots of a tree, is really intense, as you don't know if he's going to make it or not until the Predator finally walks away, and that's when he has the moment where he realises that being covered in mud hides his heat signature and the Predator has trouble seeing him.
He couldn't see me.
And then finally, what else could it be? It is the final showdown between Arnie and the Predator himself. Dutch sets traps, he manages to destroy the Predator's cloaking device, and he annoys the Predator just enough that he decides that he wants to fight Dutch one-on-one. There is a bit that's a bit dumb where the Predator has the opportunity to kill him, and he's got his blades and he goes to put it in the back of his head, but the blade separates and traps his head against a log. Now I just thought, why wouldn't the Predator go and take his chance and finally kill him? I suppose he's an alien of honour, he wants the hunt to be fair, and he decides that he has earned a one-on-one butt kicking from the Predator himself. But I don't know, I'm trying to guess how an alien thinks. And then, as I said earlier on, once the Predator removes his helmet, I remember thinking, no way, how is he supposed to fight this thing? And then I remembered it was Arnold Schwarzenegger, and he was the closest thing to a real life superhero, so if anybody could do it, he could. Well, film fans, thanks for watching the video. That was why I love Predator. This action-packed sci-fi film is just as fun to watch now as it was when I watched it the first time back in the 90s. It has Arnold Schwarzenegger in his prime, and it's an all-round classic. I'll never forget watching this for the first time with my dad and how I felt all those years ago. And that's why, to me, Predator is not only a film. Don't forget to leave a like in the video, subscribe to the channel, and I will see you guys in the next video. My name's Sam, bye for now.